My name is Sadibou Marong. I am the head of Reporters Without Borders office in Subsaharan Africa, and we are based in Dakar, in Senegal. Something which is common to many countries preparing to go to election, including in Senegal, is most of the time, from what we have observed and monitored in Sub-Saharan Africa, is the fact that every election periods carries a lot of violence against journalists, and these violence are attacks against journalists, persecutions, and most of the times an arrest. In Senegal, this is something which started more or less in 2021 during what the people they call the Ousmane Sonko affair. Ousmane Sonko is a leading opposition leader and who has now been arrested and behind bar. And there have been a lot of protests in the country, and during which some media houses have been attacked, journalists persecuted, and it continued up to 2022 during the July elections, during which journalists, many of them, have been attacked, arrested also by political actors, mainly political actors from all sides. And then also in the quelling or repressing, in repressing peaceful protests or in repressing protests, security forces also, they have attacked journalists, some of whom have been beaten. And in the sideline also, we have seen a kind of trend of persecutions and arrests of journalists. One of the arrests was that of Pape Alé Niang, who is an investigative journalist, very well known in the country, arrested on 6th of October 2022 for the first time, and he was arrested in less than 4 months, three to four times, and during which he was also observing a hunger strike. Yes. Pape Alé was arrested, and we have also from there and many more other journalists arrested, like some who have been considered as more or less dissident or dissenting voices. Pape Ndiaye, one working for Walfadjri, Serigne Saliou Gueye also working for another newspaper, and the motivation of behind the arrest were more or less the same. I mean, we consider that these have been considered as people who have been only arrested because of their dissenting voices. Even if Pape Ndiaye, one of them, was arrested, for example, for defamation issues, for spreading false news. But we consider that in Senegal there are a lot of mechanisms. For example, if a journalist has wrote or has issued or published a false news, I mean, there are other mechanisms, for example, to correct them so that and let the journalists free. In all those time, the incidents between 2022, between July 2022 and June 2023, the number of incidents we have monitored, there have been 18 incidents, including attacks, arrests, and persecution of journalists in Senegal, in the whole country. Related, most of them, the majority of which were related to election, because in July 2022 there have been the parliamentary election, and after that they were the run-up to the presidential election for 2025, which is coming next month. And then in that there have been a lot of protests repressed, a lot of arrests of journalists, and so that the situation of the country was getting really worse, and characterized, for example, by drop in the our RSF ranking, WordPress Freedom Index. The country has lost something like 30 places, going from reaching 104th places in a year. This is very dramatic. Senegal has been a kind of icon or beacon of press freedom for so long time. What we have seen with President Macky Sall is also quite difficult, because he was the one who arrested journalists under his rule. He was the one who under whose rule journalists have been persecuted. So, and that's why we at RSF were very worried, and we have set up a series of safety and election coverage training in Senegal. We have done in Dakar, St. Louis, in Ziguinchor, in Tambacounda, Kaolack, and Kédougou, in the six regions out of 14, so as to gather journalists, to spread the word of and the capacity building of covering election, but also and for them how to do so as to cover election without fear and reprisals. One of our best, we're gonna monitor the election, not at a political level, but at more in the angle of journalists being able to do their job, the internet not being cut during that time, because unfortunately the country also has experienced internet cuts in June 2023. That was quite dramatic. The country has experienced also the suspension of the signal of television and namely private TV. So we're going to work alongside journalists, trying to spread the word for their safety themselves, their physical safety, and also to stay journalists, because their role is just to go collect independently and broadcast or publish the information without being in A or B side. This is something which is important. They need to be safeguarded. Their protection is extremely important, and their protection belongs to the authorities. That's why we are calling on authorities in Senegal to accentuate and to reinforce the protection of journalists in the field, covering the election period, starting by the election campaign. And then also we are calling on journalists themselves, if they need to have a press card, which according to the law in Senegal, it is compulsory for them to do their best to have the press card, which will allow them, for example, to cover without being arrested or controlled, things like that. So, and then we also have an advocacy plan for all candidates. Our main goal is whoever will be elected needs to reinforce and respect press freedom. He will have to change the problematic provisions in the press code in Senegal. He will also have to avoid putting journalists in jail. He will also have to let access to information law be voted, and he will also have to consider that journalism is not a crime. Journalism is not a crime. Journalism is just a job, and this is the most important thing is to be independent.
Perfect.